Okay, hello again. This is the session of Cloud Init. This is the session of adding the zero configuration to the VNF. And we are going to explain you a little bit about how Cloud Init works, and then how we can use. Okay. So if you remember, this morning we explained it that day zero is the process that happened at instantiation time. So it's the process that we can add users, password, SSH. So here we can see different things that Cloud Init can do for us. Okay, for instance, setting an instant host name, generating SSH private keys, adding SSH keys to users, configuring network devices, adding users, adding file. Okay, so if you need more information, more specific information, you can copy this URL. It's the official page of Cloud Init. Okay. So many important things about the Cloud Init. Cloud Init works for the most of the operating system, but it's not working for all the operating system. Okay, be careful with this. And other thing that I think is important is not all the beans supports Cloud Init. Okay, so check, please. And OSM supports Cloud Init, but not all the orchestrators can support this tool. Okay. So then we are going to use the descriptor of the multi-VDU or aggregate the Cloud Init. Only we are going to change the image and the name of the interfaces and adding, of course, the Cloud Init file. So if you can, the idea is write all the descriptor as in the first session of today, but we have 1 hour. So my suggestion is if you can download the slides and I show you the entire descriptor, I will explain all the fields again, and then we explain the Cloud Init file and an instance descriptor. Okay. So please, if you can open your slides, you have in the path. I left this URL. If you enter in this URL, you go through presentations. No presentations, the slides. And this is the number 5, the session number 5, okay? And also, if you want to download the packages, I left the URL at the final of the path. Okay. So this is the VNF descriptor. If you remember, we have in the descriptor, I show you again. If you remember, we have 2 VDUs, and each VDU have 2 connection points, one external connection point and other internal connection point. The 2 VDUs are connected with a virtual link internal. And for this reason, we are using internal connection point in this case. And here you can see the change as a multi-VDU descriptor are the image and the Cloud Init file, okay? And if you see the network service, it's the same. If you implemented 2 VNF and connected through one network is management MGNT-net, and the other network is DataNet. So I repeat, if you want to do manually, you can do. Okay. If you have any doubts, any question on how we can do, we can repeat. The process is the same. Is with the DevOps, we generate the descriptor packets with this image, and then open the YAML file, and then begin to write the descriptor, okay? So this is the entire YAML file. As you can see, the first thing that we have to define is the idea, the name of our VNF descriptor. And then you can define the logo, description, and the version. It's not mandatory. Okay, and the next thing, we define the connection point that we are using to connect our VNF to the network service. The external connection point, okay? Only here define the external connection point. In our case, we have two. One is the VNF MGNT, and the other is VNF data. Is clear? This is clear? Okay. Then it's mandatory to select a connection point in the management interface field. In our case, again, we select this connection point, this external connection point, okay? And then we have to define the internal VLD. The internal VLD is the link between the two VDUs. Okay, it's the link between the internal connection point and the two VDUs. This. Okay? So we have to define the first VDU. In this case, is the name of the VDU is management VN. And define the name, the ID, and the image. We're going to use, in this case, this image has 3 MGNTs and Ubuntu image. Count is the name of VDUs of this view that we are going to use, of the equals VDUs, okay? And then we define the flavor, the virtual CPUs, the memory, and the storage. Okay. So then we define the interfaces, the external and internal interfaces, and then we define the connection point inside. So the first is the NGNT VN H0. In this case is this. Okay, and we will associate this interface to this external connection point. And how do this? Here, we reference the external connection point at the end of the interface with this field. Okay, and then inside the first video, we have to define the second interface and reference to the internal connection point. If I come back to the picture, I am defining this. Okay? Then at the end of the video, we have to define our internal connection point, because the external connection point is defined here, but all the internal connection point we have to define inside the VDU. Yes? Okay. And finally, is the purpose of this session is the aggregate the cloud init file. As I want to show you in this case what the cloud init do for us. In this case, it's a simple cloud init. Only for the user Ubuntu is the default user of the image. Aggregate the password. So when you have to enter in the machine the password, you have to write OSM for you. And then also the cloud init creates a hello world.txt inside this path. Okay, you can check when you instantiate, you can change to the user root and change if this file exists. Okay? So this file we define in the VNF descriptor, and we have to sell it inside the VNF. So I show you. This is the VNF package, and you have to put inside the cloud init folder. Okay, here you can define a lot of cloud init files, so only you have to do the reference into the VNF descriptor. You can use one cloud init file for the first video, another cloud init file different for the other video. Okay, this is as you want. So, okay, this is for the first video, and the same for the second video. In this case, the second video we not aggregate the cloud init, so it's okay. So we copy the video, change management for data, and check that the flavor is okay. The interfaces are one external interface and another internal interface, and all was okay. So let's move on to the network service diagram with two VNF and connected for two networks, NGNTnet and DataNet. And here you can see the network service descriptor. The first thing that you have to do is reference the VNF. In this case, we are using two VNF, the same VNF, so you have to put the same VNF reference. So also the name, short name, description, okay, and then the network, okay, the BLD in your picture. Two BLD, okay. First of all, NGNTnet, and then DataNet. Okay, we can use a suggestion is don't aggregate this field here. So this we can do at instantiation time, because if you instantiate in other OpenStack that don't have this network, they don't work. So I prefer, recommendation, delete this and using that instantiation time, okay? So the same. In the NGNTnet, sorry, we have to do again the connection point reference are the connection point that we created in the VNF descriptor. In this case, VNG and NGNT. But we have two VNFs. So we have to do 2 times this. Okay? And the same with DataNet. Here, this field is empty. So in this case, OpenStack will create a network that doesn't exist with the name of DataNet. And that's all. You can try to instantiate. I left in the path the URL of the VNF descriptor and network service descriptor here. And I suggest you instantiate this. And please check that you can enter in the machine with the password of Cloud Init OSM for you, and check that the hello world.txt exists. So please, if we instantiate all the people, we have problems with the OpenStack. So I suggest you, for instance, first of all, if you have here the tenants 1 to 10, instantiate right now, and then when you have the instance and you check that all is okay, please the next 10 tenant can instantiate, okay?
Please try right now from tenant 1 to 10, and once you have completed, tell us so we can continue.
Yes.